The KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. It is Friday, November the 3rd.
Hell yeah.
Oh, come on, Friday.
Okay.
Lay it on me.
All right.
I'm in a good mood. Okay, let's just start right here. You ever had one thing happen in your life, or have you had a couple maybe, where literally every time you tell the story, everyone you tell it to goes, no way. There's no way that actually happened. A 1 in a million life event. And I'll give you an example because I just saw a list of things that people are sharing, and I thought everyone's got at least one of these, okay? This is an extraordinary one to me. A guy, this is an article on BuzzFeed, and the guy said, I was hit in a crosswalk as a pedestrian 2 times in my life by the same person. These 2 incidents happened 4 years apart in different states.
Wow, you have a stalker.
So, thank you. Clearly, a stalker who's got some spatial issues. But imagine, put yourself in be in the shoes of this guy. You're crossing the street, as we do all the time, and a car hits you. Obviously not, I mean, he would have mentioned if it had broken his legs or he was seriously injured, I imagine. So imagine a car bumping you, and you go down to the ground, and the driver gets out, like, oh, my God, are you okay? Oh, geez, yeah, okay. And you have this whole conversation, and then you shake it off, and then you spend 4 years telling your friends, man, I got hit by a car. Remember the time I got hit by the car? And then it happens again 4 years later in a different state. And there you are again, and you're already going through the thought of there's no way this just happened again. And the same guy gets out to see if you're okay.
That's
like
yeah.
When you walk yourself through what each incident looked and felt like, that is, man, buy a freaking lottery ticket.
There's a glitch in the matrix.
Yeah,
so
truly.
Bizarre.
Fascinating.
Or as Zeb said, someone's following you a lot.
Yeah.
That would just be... I'm sorry, man. That's just too much. I would be eating out on that story for the rest of my life.
I have a buddy, Ricky Webb, many years ago, back in the 90s, so many years ago, broke up with a girl he was engaged to by, is a terrible man. That's why he's a friend of mine. But he basically just the ultimate ghost. He left in the middle of the night and moved to Boston and left her. Never told her where he was going, just packed up his bags, felt pressured, had like a mental breakdown, and moved to Boston. Didn't tell her where he was going. He just disappeared from her life. 3 years later, got into a car accident with her in Massachusetts.
What, you mean like separate cars they hit?
Yeah, separate cars.
Oh
they got into a car accident with each other, a fender bender.
That's pretty great.
Yeah, that's karma, brother.
I was meaning to call you.
Oh.
Here's another one on this list. A woman says, I go to the same dentist as another woman who shares my first, middle, and last name and the same birthday.
Whoa.
We've never crossed paths, but they double and triple check our information to make sure we're who they think we are every time.
Yeah, no kidding, man.
That's pretty good, man. I told this story once. I was in a hotel in Richmond, Virginia in 1996 on tour with the Black Crowes. We had a night off. We flew from Amsterdam to Dulles Airport in Virginia and then got on the bus and drove to Richmond for a night off. So it's a weird Monday night. It's a rainy night in Richmond. It's cold outside and just had a long day of travel. And we're just going to watch Monday Night Football and crash. But after the first quarter, me and one of the guys in the band and one of the crew guys, we were like, hey, let's go find some dinner. Let's get out of here. We walk down the hall, wait for the elevator, step into the elevator. We hit lobby. It goes down one floor, and the elevator doors open, and my brother, Jim Gorman from Baltimore, Maryland, is standing there waiting to enter the elevator.
What?
And I just looked at him, and he looked at me, and of course, we immediately don't break our we act as if we have no idea who each other is. And Robinson, my singer, is with me, and he's known Jim for years, and Jim looks at him and does the same thing, like doesn't even act like he knows him. But Chris looks at me and goes, "What the?" I'm like, just go with it, let's see what happens. And we talked about that one for years. he lives in Baltimore. I live in Atlanta. We're at the same Marriott on the same night in the same elevator at the exact same moment. 10 seconds later, for either one of us to leave the room and go to the elevator, we would have never even known we were in the same hotel at the same time.
Oh my God, that's so cool.
I mean, it was just like, as soon as the doors opened, I was like, you got to be kidding me.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I mean, there's just those things happen. I got to think there's a few of those out there. If you got one to share with us, feel free. The KQ Talking text line, 651-989-ROCK. I love completely insane random. I mean, are they coincidences or are they a glitch in the matrix? Are we crossing realms? I just absolutely love stories like this. The crosswalk, the 2 times getting hit by the same person is really good. Here's a really quick one that's funny too, because again, we can all imagine that immediate rush of no way. A guy wrote, I found a dropped iPhone. I just tried my birthday as the passcode, and it unlocked.
Oh, my gosh. God.
Weird.
I love moments like that. It's like, wait, say what?
I know. How about this one? A bird crapped in my mouth. I had the car door barely open while my boyfriend pumped gas and was mid-sentence when a bird flew under the awning and pooped at the perfect angle to go through the barely open door right into my mouth.
Wow. Was that the Kings of Leon bass player that wrote that one?
I think I remember that story you told. So this could be a 1 in a million in any scenario. Tell us your 1 in a million story.
All right, one last one. This is great, too. Yeah. When I was a teenager, I picked up a hitchhiker. And then a few years later, I was walking after I ran out of gas, and the same guy picked me up. I never saw him before or after those 2 occasions.
Oh, that's mind-boggling.
Come on, man. That's the universe's like. You never saw him again. You're supposed to be his best friend, dude. That's
right.
Gives me shivers.
Yeah, the universe is going, gentlemen, get to know each other.
Yeah.
Holy crap. I love these.
We have Mike Evans' Hollywood Report coming up, but you got to call these in. Please, 651-989-ROCK. That's the talk and text number. We'd love to hear your 1 in a million story on the talk and text line this morning. Like I said, Mike Evans, it's Movie Review Friday, 6:30. Hang tight.
It's the KQ Morning Show. 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. It's Friday. It is time for the Mike Evans Hollywood Report. Good morning, Mike.
Hey, good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Every Friday, I like to say hello to some of the email people that send me emails. I was looking for it. Christine Slater, Janet Lee, and Randall Ganja.
Great guys. Yeah.
Yeah. I want to say hi to some of the people that send me emails.
Randall Ganja?
Gonc. I can't read my writing.
Yeah, close. I if it's not right, I hope
Randall.
Yeah. All right, Randall. Good to hear from you, brother.
Weed Man.
Yeah, we're not kidding.
Yeah, exactly.
Randy Weed.
So a little update this morning, breaking on TMZ. The top story is that Al Pacino will pay his baby mama between $25,000 and $30,000 in child support. Oh, wait a minute, we had that Tuesday. TMZ's flipping a little bit. I don't know.
Wow, Evans with his thumb on the pulse.
Yes, I don't know. Well, I pee on myself often enough, so when I get one right,
Attaboy.
Movie review, and don't forget Marcus Theater's the place to see your movies. Theaters all over town, check them out. And there are some movies we're seeing. Definitely Rustin, definitely Priscilla, definitely Killers of the Flower Moon. They're all playing all 3 stars. One movie opening today is What Happens Later. It's a romantic comedy with Meg Ryan and David Duchovny. I found it a little sappy. If you like romantic comedies, you might like it. I'm going to only give it 2.5 stars, but I'm not a big romantic comedy kind of guy.
Gotcha.
Movie news, and I bet Steve's excited about this. Coming November 22nd, Napoleon, starring Joaquin Phoenix as the French dictator. This is a classic. It'll be a masterpiece. A budget, they won't even announce what the budget is, but I don't know, when you have 600 extras, I guess it's going to be pretty big.
Yeah, I saw the trailer the other day, and I had heard about it, and I hadn't really given it a second thought, but I did see a trailer, and I was like, I got Joaquin Phoenix stock for sure. And anybody that goes from the Joker to Napoleon, credit for the switch anyway.
Exactly. So some TV news. Britney Spears is reportedly shopping a television series. comment. There is no way that Britney Spears would be able to secure a TV series. I mean, she might get a 1-hour biography or something for television.
Let me throw out a devil's advocate conversation here. Let me just make counterpoint. That's what I'm trying to say.
Okay.
Her book has sold 1 million copies.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she
sold 1 million books at a time when no one on the planet reads anymore.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. I'm just saying, man. I bet she could make a pretty compelling case for. It might be a grease fire, but she's going to get eyeballs, Mike. I'm just throwing that out there.
That's very possible. But hear my side. If she got, let's say, even a 10-episode series, before they'd start shooting, as you well know, that would demand a very, very heavy insurance policy.
Yes, it would.
And I don't see any underwriter guaranteeing that Britney will show up day after day, week after week for 10 episodes. That'd be a 3-month worth of work. And put up the money. I just don't see the
Have a little more faith.
Yeah.
Those insurance policies are expensive.
They are. All right. Well, you know what? We'll wait with bated breath to see.
We'll see. Yeah. Hey. I'm excited about this. Get ready for the 5th season of Fargo. It airs November 21st. Do you like the Fargo show?
I do like the show. I like the second season, my favorite by far, but I've enjoyed the other ones as well.
Yeah, this was better than any of them, other than the first one, I think. I really, really like it. John Hamm and a lot of guest stars. November 21st, it airs on FX, and then it will segue to Hulu.
Right here in Brainerd.
Right on. Okay.
I like it.
Do you know what this one is? Is this set in modern times? Like, what's the era for this season? Do you know?
Yeah, it is set in modern times.
Okay. Wow. I was wondering if they were ever going to get around to that. Yeah, I've liked them all. I think it's great.
Odds and ends. Robert De Niro's involved in this really bizarre, weird, crazy double lawsuit right now in New York.
Yeah, I keep seeing like weird things about it, and I haven't taken the time to research it and figure out what the hell's going on.
I tried to research it, Steve, and I still came across scratching my head going, what the hell is this? De Niro accuses her of stealing some airplane miles, and she accuses him of gender discrimination, whatever the heck that is. I don't know what's going on with that. It has something to do, though, with De Niro's girlfriend who wants her fired and got in a big fight with her. It's a mess. I learned something, though. Did you know that Robert De Niro owns part of the Nobu chain?
Oh, yeah. He was in on the jump. There was Masahitsa, the first one, and then when they wanted to expand, De Niro backed him from day one.
36 hotels and 55 restaurants. I go to Nobu's once in a while when I can afford it, about once a year.
Yeah. No, it's good. It's good to have friends who go there all the time because they end up picking up the tab.
Yeah, exactly.
I love Nobu.
So I thought this was interesting. When Ben and Jennifer Lopez were shopping to downsize, they only wanted a $25 million house. For a couple of months, they rented an $85 million mansion, 12 bedrooms, 17 bathrooms, an elevator, a full garage, a cigar room, a wine room, a movie theater on 1.5 acres, and they were paying $27,000 a month rental.
Sounds like a bargain to me.
Jeez Louise.
Roughing it.
Yeah, no kidding.
Don't forget to turn your clocks back. And a quick reminder, I put up my Christmas tree yesterday.
Yeah, come on.
I swear I did. I've always put it up before we turn the clocks back.
Really?
Yeah.
I guess so you get 1 extra hour of Christmas by doing that. That's actually a good thought.
I never thought about it that way, but it's like sometimes I do it just before Thanksgiving, before Halloween, but I got it up yesterday.
You're just a Christmas elf, aren't you, Mike
I
Evans?
do love Christmas. And just thinking about it makes me want to sing. It's Aloha Friday. No, we're to Monday. We're going to play the Aloha Friday. Have a great weekend. Mili, Kalikamaka, Holy Maka, Hiki Holy, Yokalani, Lani, Ani, Okay, Yella, Koo, and a cock and a hawk, and hooey, 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 ho.
Aloha.
Bam!
No one cares what I think, but a Britney Spears television show is a slam dunk. Listen, my daughter, Candace, approximately the same age. If you try to diss Britney Spears, claws come out. Be prepared to defend yourself physically if need be. And these young ladies have put the Kardashians on a path to be billionaires, multi-billionaires for the rest of their lives. Housewives of whatever county. Are you kidding me? A Britney Spears reality show is the easiest. Hell, if someone doesn't give it to her, I say we sell everything we have, homes, cars, cash in our 401ks, and start a damn show for her. It's going to make $1 million.
I'm trying to. I don't want to sound insensitive or weird when I say this, but I mean, she is a. She's a show kid. She's a show pony. She understands get the job done. She was raised to be a performer and an entertainer, probably against her will for a good part of her childhood and teen years. But my point is, that's all she knows. And if you give her an itinerary for the day and say, we got to do this and you got to hit your marks and we need you. I think she'd turn up and kill it.
She's a beautiful shit show. I'll tell you what, I was listening to some audio the other day. She keeps getting pulled over in Malibu driving by the same cop. But she's always driving a different Mercedes or Beamer or something like that. Just the audio from it alone is hilarious as she tries to talk her way out of it. She's... I don't know why
Mike
she doesn't
Evans
have
dressed up like a police officer.
Probably. And she's got that squeaky voice, and her Instagrams all get about 500 million.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, it could be. I don't know. This guy sounds fairly young. And then every time he walks up to the window, he's like, hey, Brittany, do you know I stopped you? And her license is always with her manager somewhere.
Oh, my God, that's great.
Yeah,
I can see there being a spin-off animated, some cartoon with her. Seriously.
Yeah, well, I mean, sure, why not? I think it's the next thing. Not in a dramatic role, not in something fictional, but just a Britney Spears reality show. Mm-hmm. Boom!
Huge.
Print money.
Yeah, that's very true. The Real Housewives of Hennepin County. When are we going to get that one?
I'm surprised it hasn't happened yet.
I'm still stuck on Mike Evans cosplaying as a cop pulling over Britney Spears as often as
He's
possible.
obsessed with her.
That's great. All right, you know what? Before we look ahead, why don't we look back? On this day in 1993, November 3rd, Greg Maddux, a pitcher for the Atlanta Braves, won the Cy Young Award. He was the first player ever to win back-to-back Cy Young Awards on different teams. He won the 92 Cy Young for the Cubs.
Yeah.
And then was traded to the Braves and won it again in 93. The man's fastball rarely hit 90 miles per hour. And in fact, by the time he was winning back-to-back Cy Youngs, he was more like 86 miles per hour was his fastball.
Yeah.
I saw Greg Maddux in person in his prime a couple dozen times. And I'm just going to say, because my Braves tickets were always when Maddux was pitching. I've never seen anything like it. The guy was a one of one in the history, probably because he's the most unathletic looking guy you've ever seen dominate a sport.
Yeah.
He would throw any pitch at any time. And I've never seen a pitcher that you could tell batters just wanted to choke the life out of more than Greg Maddux.
It looked like a elementary school history teacher or something.
Yeah.
I watched a YouTube video of him one time, and the old throw the football through the tire?
Yep.
The routine? Well, they had this at the same distance, so what is it, 60 feet approximately from the pitching mound to the plate, something like that.
Yeah.
And the hole was the size of a baseball, just slightly larger than the size of a baseball. And they had 5 of them, 5 of those holes up there.
Yeah.
He threw 5 pitches, and every one of them went through every one of the holes.
I don't
not
doubt
50
it.
pitches, and 5 went through. 5 pitches, perfect control. Insane.
Check this out. I hate numbers, but I'm going to share a few with you right now.
All right.
He faced 20,421 batters in his career.
Okay.
310 of them saw a 3-0 count, and 177 of those were intentional walks. I'm sorry, man. That Greg Maddux, there should be statues of him at every Little League park in America.
It's the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS. Zep, Tony, Candace, and Steve Gorman are the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show, Friday, November the 3rd. The most important thing I just said is Friday. Good God, I'm ready for the weekend. A quick note, Brian Zepp. Congratulations to your Pittsburgh Steelers for beating my Tennessee Titans last night. I'm okay with the loss.
Yeah.
Because we have a quarterback now.
How'd Levis do?
I am buying all the Will Levis stock anyone's offering.
Yeah.
Standing in the pocket. And by the way, that's a tough team to go up against on your second start at night.
That's the one thing that's working for the Steelers. I mean, really working is the pass rush this season. T.J. Watt. But, there are some other, really talented pass rushers on there. But T.J. Watt is otherworldly. But, yeah, it's just a bunch of ugly wins for the Steelers this year. But, yeah, I thought the same thing, too. I thought the kid for the Titans could sling it and came out and did pretty good.
And
first
stands in that pocket fearlessly.
Right.
And, of course, sometimes a little too long, but he'll figure that out. It was, again, his second game.
And has a gun.
Oh, my God. Yeah. I am so excited as a Titans fan because, you spend years watching Marcus Mariota and just a cavalcade of Kerry Collinses and all these guys late in their careers.
Yeah.
I mean, as good as, and Ryan Tannehill's been pretty good. He's pretty good.
Yeah.
Serviceable.
But the idea that a team, I don't know what it's like to draft a guy where you actually see little visions of 10-year sugar plums in your head. But I'm like, okay, all right, I'm feeling good about this. So to your point, though, and then we'll get on to the game. The Steelers, to our game show here, the Steelers, how far can you go with nothing but a pass rush? Well, pretty far, apparently, from the looks of things.
4-3 so
far. But Mike Tomlin, I mean, he, boy, don't ever think that guy isn't. He can pull a rabbit out of his hat like few coaches. I mean, he just looks at what he has, coaches the team he has, figures out how to make it work. Because their quarterback is not Will Levis.
No, Kenny Pickett, there was a lot of hope for him coming in. He was the Johnny Unitas winner coming out of Pitt. I mean, literally practiced in the same Steelers practice facility. And so there was a lot of love there for him. And it seemed like he had it going on. Last season, ended up going 4-1 down the stretch, had a great preseason, but all sorts of problems, accuracy and decision-making being a big one, which suggests that he might not be the guy. Kind of a heartbreaker there.
Wonder if Levis's girlfriend is going to come charging back. Do you remember it was the night of the draft, and he was sitting in this room, and he was all pimped out, and they looked really stiff and unhappy because he kept dropping and not being picked up, and she left him soon after that.
That's great.
No, she's texting him again.
Will's sister is a bit of a star now. That she was at the home game in Tennessee a week ago, and they showed her repeatedly through the broadcast. And my son was at a bar in Nashville over the summer and ran into her he was with a buddy, and then she was with a mutual friend of my son's friend, and he's like, hey, I just hung out with Will Levis' sister for a couple hours. I'm like, oh, and one of those things I went, oh, okay. And then last week I called him. I'm like, do you still have her number? Let's get some tickets. Come on. Let's make this happen. He's like, yeah, she's probably hearing from a few other people right now, Dad. Like, yeah, you're right. Sorry, I'm almost 60. I'll hang up the phone now. All right, you know what? Speaking of Candace Wheeler's favorite sport, football, it is a game, and we love games, and that's a bad segue, but we're ready to play a game right now. A week from tonight, my band Bagman is playing the 7th Street Entry. It's a rock and roll band. Does anybody remember rock and roll? And so we're going to have a great time. And when I say we, I mean the royal we here in the room. And we would like to invite a couple of listeners to come join us for the Bagman Show, but you're going to have to beat the toaster in order to do that. Lay it on me, Tony.
Let's play.
Wakey, wakey, eggs and bakey.
Toast. Toast. Toast.
I would like toast.
Toast. Who wants toast? I love toast.
When this guy put some bread in a toaster, you won't believe what happened next.
You've got bread and a toaster of some kind.
Can you make me a grilled cheese sandwich?
Your breakfast is ready.
I didn't hear a ding.
The KQ Morning Show presents...
All we need to do is beat the toaster.
Beat the toaster.
It's a game show. Beat the toaster.
Breakfast is ready.
Yep, it's time again.
It's great.
For Beat the Toaster,
You
the
can
Northlands.
add 10 seconds to that intro every time we play it. I would never get tired of it.
Well, here's what we do. We pop a hypothetical slice of bread into the toaster here in the studio. We give you a category, then you name as many things that you can that pop into your little head as possible in 15 seconds before the toast pops. It's stressful, but gosh darn it, it's fun.
Boy, it's real fun for us.
Yes, sir.
So let's get to it. Candace, who is contestant number 1?
Michelle from iSantee.
Good morning, Michelle.
Good morning.
How you doing?
Pretty good. How about you guys?
We're rolling along right now. Are you ready to play Beat the Toaster?
Sure.
Right on. Good answer. Let's do it. Tony?
All right, your first one, you have 15 seconds. You got to beat the toast. Name some places that would be very difficult in which to hide a walrus. Go.
Oh, hide a walrus. Oh, my God. Church pew, train. Oh, I don't know. In your car.
Oh,
Nice.
you just got that in. It was
Church
three-
pew, train,
Rain.
and car.
Yeah.
Right.
Stellar.
Are we counting Umadibinima? No.
That is a good spot.
Then that is just 3 then. I feel like I could, however, I'm not going to argue with Michelle, but I feel like I could hide a walrus on a train.
Well,
I had enough time.
but
But a
again,
church pew, forget it.
it would be hard to do, though.
Yeah, there's on top or underneath the church. Yeah,
I
that's
thought
just
you
not
said
gonna work.
drain, which I
Yeah,
thought
so
was
did I.
hilarious.
I thought it was drain as well.
I heard train. Either one works for me. So
3 good ones.
I'm happy with that. So all right, wait.
Guess we go to the other call, and then we'll come back for round 2.
Michelle, hang on. We'll be right back to you for round 2. Candace, who is contestant number 2?
Mike from Minneapolis.
Mike, good morning, sir.
Good morning, sir.
Are you ready to play Beat the Toaster?
I'm not even sure. I just climbed out of the shower and I heard call you guys, and I've never heard of the game, but let's give it a
Wow.
shot.
All right. So, well, do you understand what we're doing here?
I think so.
Are you naked?
No, not at the moment.
Is the towel soft and absorbent? What we're going to do, we'll give you a category, and you have to name as many things as possible that pop into your head within the 15 seconds it takes before the toast pops in the toaster.
Got it.
All right.
Mike's ready.
All right, sir. Mike, you're a pirate, but you're forbidden to ever say "arr" because it's cliche. As you walk the ship, what pirate things are you going to say? Go.
Where's my parrot? Where's my peg leg? Where's my silver? Where's my grub? Hoist the sails.
Yeah, yes.
Drop the anchor.
All right.
Wow. 1, 2,
Half
3,
dozen
4,
there,
5,
yeah.
He's a
6.
pirate.
Very good.
Wow. Didn't even get a shiver me timbers in there. That's what I
Right.
thought.
Yeah,
Is that
that's
a
what
pirate term? It
that's-
seems like
that's
it.
what I was
Sounds like
looking
he's
for.
a little disorganized as a captain. He doesn't know where any of his
I was going to say,
crap is.
he's
Yeah.
asking for a lot of stuff.
Right.
Oh, right on, Mike. Going with a strong half dozen right there. All right, Mike, we're going back to Michelle for round 2, so sit tight. Michelle, Mike had a pretty good run there as a pirate. I'm sure you will do better in round 2. Good luck to you.
Okay.
Oh, turn your radio down just a wee bit. Okay, here comes your number 2. You're running down the street in New York City and you accidentally bump into Keith Richards of the Stones and you knock him down. What spills out of his backpack? Go.
Marijuana, cigarettes, guitar strings, guitar picks, I don't know, beverages.
Well, she definitely knows Keith Richards.
Yeah,
To some
for
degree,
sure.
yeah.
Marijuana.
What was that last one?
Didn't catch the last
I caught 5, but what was it?
What was the last one, Michelle?
Oh God, so fast. I think it was I did guitar strings, guitar picks.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. I got 5. What did you guys get?
there was
I got
one more.
5.
Yeah. So we got 5. So that's a total of 8. Not bad at all, Michelle.
Very nice.
We'll see how Mike does in round 2. So sit tight, Michelle. We'll be back momentarily. Mike, let's go for round 2, sir. Good luck to you.
All right, Mikey, here's yours. Number 2. Saturday Night Live is known for characters that are specific. Canteen boy, goat boy, church lady, coneheads, etc. Based on your interests and personality, what new characters would be named after you? Go.
Oh, boy. That's a tough one. What would be named after me? Sono Brain?
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah.
Wow. What was that one? What brain?
Sono Brain.
Sono
SONOBRAIN.
Got it.
BRAIN.
Gotcha.
Sonobrain.
Sonobrain.
All right, that's a good one.
That's a strong one. Let's see though.
I got 1, yeah.
Wow, I think that's
For
7.
Yeah.
7 total, and Michelle
Look out, Michelle.
has 8 total Wow. Didn't see that one coming. So it looks like Michelle has beaten the toaster.
Wow.
Pack your bag
today. Right on. Michelle, you've got 2 tickets a week from tonight to come see my band Bagmen. We're at the 7th Street entry with First Avenue. I hope you make it out. It's going to be a good night. We're not letting you leave empty-handed, Mike. You've got 4 pack of tickets to the Hardwater Ice Fishing Expo, November 17th through the 19th at the National Sports Center in Blaine. Thank you both for calling in and playing.
Thank you.
You got it.
Awesome.
See,
Awesome.
I thought he might get the job done there. He didn't need very many, but that's how absurd were those questions today? I loved them.
I'm aware of that.
High five, buddy.
The more absurd, the better.
Yeah, I love that.
Like we said, I'm not playing. I'm very happy to sit here and watch people melt down on the phone.
I
That's
actually
great.
Googled the best places to hide a walrus.
Yeah.
Did you?
What'd you come up with?
Studio E. That was one of them.
That's
Drain didn't come up.
that would certainly work.
We're not. We're going to play another game show at 8 o'clock.
Same.
We're just cleaning out the prize closet. Another Beat the Toaster at 8 o'clock.
Oh, that's great.
I can't wait. Well, here at 7:30, we got started this morning talking about these 1 in a million experiences. Just these wild things that it's 1 in a million. That explains it. Here's a guy walking, gets hit by a car, winds up in the front passenger seat without going through a window or an open door. Sounds like a quiz, doesn't it? How did he do it? He went through the moonroof. Boom! Hits by a car through the moonroof and the passenger seat. That's a 1 in a million experience.
That's pretty good.
What do you got for us? Our talking text line, 651-989-ROCK. We want to hear your 1 in a million story. Any scenario goes. We'll get to those at 7:30. Hang tight.
It's the KQ Morning Show. 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. That was the Beatles Now and Then. A song that was released yesterday. I already saw some folks. I saw comments online. People going like, yeah, it's okay. I mean, what's the big deal? And I'll be the first to say, yeah, that's not Hey Jude. That's not Imagine. It's not the greatest song that the Beatles ever put together, but it's the Beatles in 2023, and it's still better than most of the stuff you're going to hear, if for no other reason than we're listening to John Lennon sing again.
Right. It's growing on me. It's kind of, I like haunting and sad songs, and it's kind of maudlin.
That's both
on a Friday. It's fun.
That's both of those two things right there, yes. On the show, talk about... Paul McCartney said in the little video that accompanied the release of that song, the little documentary, the 12-minute story, one of the last things he says, which I'm sure just grows in magnitude for the remaining Beatles with every passing year, is what are the chances? We were talking earlier about 1 in a million things that happen in your life. When Paul McCartney was introduced to John Lennon, they were, 14 and 16 years old. And they were, and Paul said, he's the first guy I ever met who said, I write songs. And I said, oh, so do I. And so in Liverpool in the 50s, everyone else they know is obsessed with football, soccer, and rations. And making jokes about Germans. Like think about British culture at that time. And for these two kids in a town of Liverpool, which, for you always compare it to, like, people say it's like Pittsburgh. It's a working man city, but it's on the water, so it's more kind of like Newark, Delaware, or it's a port town. It's Long Beach, California. It's not where the geniuses come from, basically, is what people would assume. For those two kids to meet, and then Paul's like, oh, well, this one guy at my school, George, he's good. And then a few years later, they're like, oh, that drummer's amazing. All these guys from that town at that time, and the chemistry between them, that band is a literal miracle, and was from the jump. Because before they were ever famous, they were different than every other band. They were just something special. So anyway, all these years later, we still get that song. I'm still excited about it. And yeah, it's not the best Beatles song ever, but the run-of-the-mill Beatles beats just about everybody else's best day. Mm-hmm. That's my personal opinion.
All right.
So there you have it. So 1 in a million moments. I can't say that we've all met, our John or Paul in life, creatively or otherwise, but there are some amazing things we've had happen. There's a whole article about these incredible things you look back on that get weirder. I think my favorite two, there's one guy wrote that he was a teenager and he picked up a hitchhiker. Nice effort. A few years later, that teenager ran out of gas himself and he put his thumb up, and who comes and picks him up but the same person he picked up 2 years earlier. He's never seen the guy before or since.
Man.
Yeah, that's weird.
Unbelievable.
Couple years apart, the same two guys pick each other up. That's absolutely incredible. And then the other was a pedestrian was hit by a car in a crosswalk. And he dusted himself off. The driver, oh my God, are you okay? They have a whole exchange. And then 4 years later, in a different state, the same person is hit by a car driven by the same person.
You again.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. That's just too much, man.
Just waiting for the next one, aren't you?
That's completely insane.
Here's a guy that got attacked by a robin in the morning, then by a hawk 3 hours later. What is the birds? This guy.
Birds.
They were just plotting. They're like, all right, you go in first, nice and easy, and then I'll come in with the heavy stuff later.
Did you guys know that crows hold grudges and they tell their friends and
I
family
wrote a whole
about
book about it. What are you talking about?
Is that what inspired your band name? I don't know much about the Black Crows.
No, the original band name was Mr. Crow's Garden, which was a name of a chapter in an old book called The Tale of Old Mr. Crow.
Okay.
And then that was something that Chris had. And then he said, Mr. Crow's Garden sounds like a good band name, which in the world of mid-'80s indie rock, that did sound like a good band name. He added an E to the word crow just to be different, as you do. Mm-hmm. And then when we got a record deal, we had grown tired of the name Mr. Crow's Garden because I found myself having to repeat it 2 and 3 times to people. What's your band called? Mr. Crow's Garden. What? Mr. Crow's Garden. And then oftentimes they'd say, Mr. Coast Guard? That's what I heard a lot. And I was like, can you imagine a worse, but we're Mr. Coast Guard.
Mr. Gross Goblin.
Yeah. So anyway, it was like, but around, it was the Crows. People called us the Crows. And so we were like, well, we should just be the Crows. And there's like 58 bands on earth called the Crows. Mm-hmm. And then we were like, well, we should be the Something Crows. And it turned into the Black Crows. And there you have it.
All right.
Band names, the bane of every band's existence.
Brilliant.
Yeah, exactly. Jeez. So these one in a million things. I had another one. As quickly as I can try to tell this story. I was home in Atlanta, Georgia in 1999, and my phone rang, and it was my buddy Brian calling me because I was going to New York the next day. He's in New York, and he goes, hey, I got your message. When are you going to be here? So, because we were going to go get dinner the next night. And as we're talking, I said, what are you doing? He goes, oh, I'm at the Rangers game. It's between periods. He's a hockey fan. As we're talking, I get the call waiting, and I answer it, and it's my brother, Jim, who I'd already had a bizarre interaction with. We were in the same hotel in the same city without knowing it.
Same brother.
Right.
Same brother. 3 years later. He calls me. And he goes, hey, blah, 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 we had something. And I said, what are you doing? He goes, oh, I'm in New York with his son, Brian. He goes, we're at the Rangers game. It's in between periods. I go, oh, that's weird. I said, I'm talking to my friend Brian. He's at the game. And I said to Jim, I said, what section are you in? And he said, like, section 12. And I clicked back over, and I said, Brian, what section are you in? He goes, 12.
No.
I said, okay, Jim said 12. I'm in row 9 or whatever. I said, where are you? He goes, section 12, row 8. And I said, do you see a tall dude with a 12-year-old kid? And I said, my brother Jim's there. And I hear Brian go, hey, is your name Jim Gorman? He goes, yeah.
Oh my
and he
God.
goes, I'm talking to your brother Steve right now. And Jim goes, so am I. I hear the whole conversation because Jim's on hold. I'm going back and forth between the two phone calls.
For God's
they
sake.
are sitting right in front of each other. That's the first time they ever met.
That's
oh my
weird.
gosh, that's cool.
I mean, like that's insane. And they both called me at that moment between periods when they were just passing the time.
There's something to that. I get so many moments of synchronicities that I actually keep a journal, a notebook full of moments. And
Oh my God,
read them
I
back.
would love to read that.
My very first one that
It's
I can
all
remember.
written in code, Candace. You will never understand.
Hieroglyphics.
You need a cipher.
I was 10 years old is my first one. I remember being on a car trip with my family, and we're just driving, and we're in another city. And my sister was like, do you have a girlfriend? Is there a girl you have a crush on? And just as I was opening my mouth to say who she was, I said, there she is. We drove by a house, and she was playing in the backyard with some other kids. We're in a whole nother city.
Freak.
Right at that second. Yeah. So I said, there she is.
Okay, that's pretty amazing.
Uh-huh.
This is not nearly as good, but it's funny. In 1991, we were on tour, and we had just added a piano player to the live band, and his name was Ed Harsh, and he ended up joining the band and staying with us for 15 years. Eddie Harsh was 6'5". He weighed literally 150 pounds. Just the skinniest, tallest guy you've ever met. And he was in our band. He was the fourth show we played with him was in Nashville, Tennessee. It's January. It's freezing cold out. There's been an ice storm. And I went to lunch with a guy from the Pearl Drum Company. I was playing Pearl Drums. This guy comes and takes me to lunch. And as we're driving back to the hotel, he's taking me out. He goes, hey, so tell me, you got a piano player now? I said, yeah, he's really great. And he goes, oh, well, where'd you find him? What's he like? And as we're saying this, now it's not quite as random as being in another town, but we're pulling into our hotel parking lot. And I look out the window, and on like the 5th floor, there's a balcony. And it overlooks the interstate right by the Nashville airport. And there's our new piano player standing on his balcony, holding a cup of coffee. It's 20 degrees outside, and he's completely nude.
Oh, my God.
and cars on the interstate are honking, and he's waving. And you can see everything. He's just junk flying, totally nude. But this guy goes, hey, so tell me about your new piano player. What's he like? I go, well, he's, there he is right there. And he's completely naked in the freezing cold. And he just, just freshening himself up, having a cup of coffee, waving to the good people.
Yeah.
And I get out of the car, and then you just hear by the highway, beep, 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 beep. Everybody that looks over and sees a giant naked dude.
Nude.
That's pretty funny.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
That's weird. My dad had an uncle. I never knew him. He never lived near us. He was up in the Northwest in Washington. But he wouldn't bathe, Dad told me. He would just go walk around naked out in nature for a while. Sort of, like you hold an old shirt out the window. Did you guys ever do that? It's like, this stinks a little bit. Hold it out the window for a few minutes, throw it back on.
Doesn't work as much as you want it to, but yeah.
No, it doesn't. It just kind of leads you to believe that it might be working a little bit.
Yeah.
I don't have any good 1 in a million stories. The closest I came to a 1 in a million once, I once got a fortune cookie at a restaurant. Everybody's opening up their fortune cookies. I was a teenager. Mine didn't have a fortune in it. Uh-oh. I was like, I know. I was like, weird. I was like, all right, mine didn't have a fortune in the lady. So our server goes, oh, let me grab you another one. And the next one had 2.
Oh, my God.
I got a blank one time.
Really? A blank fortune?
Yes.
Yeah, fill in your own fortune.
Oh. I was going to say, when you have a cookie without a fortune as a young man, that basically tells you you're going to have a life in radio.
Yeah.
But then you got 2 fortunes in the next one, so that kind of negated that whole thing.
It's like a 35-year dead end.
Oh, man. This is not 1 in a million, but in fact, twice a year. We mess with our clocks for reasons that still make no sense to me, and we're going to do it this weekend. 70% of Americans, in every poll you see, at least 70% say it's a waste of time. I don't know a single person who will die on the hill of, no, I like changing the clocks forward and backward. Have you ever talked to anybody? Any of y'all ever had a conversation where someone said, I kind of like it?
Well, I'm going to need that extra hour this Sunday, so I'm cool
people
with it.
seem to like the fallback idea because I've had a conversation this week with a couple people who are like, oh, yeah, I get an extra hour. I'm traveling this weekend, long road trip. So I'm going to appreciate the extra hour. That may come in handy. But yeah, you're right. I think the thing is, what's the big deal? For me, it's like, why does everyone get so excited about it?
I'm not going to get an extra hour of sleep because my body is going to think it's 4:12 a.m. when I wake up every morning anyway. It's just going to be 3:12 a.m. So I'm going to have an extra morning of prep for radio or something. It just doesn't work. I'm old enough where it doesn't matter. It just annoys me that it's going to be that much darker, that much earlier in the day.
Yeah, it is an antiquated practice, according to astrophysicist Neil deGrasse Tyson.
He's smarter than us.
Yeah, no, he said, it's one of those things that we used to rely on, when we had lamps around. The world is lit, in other words. It doesn't matter when it gets dark.
Sorry. I don't want to forget this. I'm glad you mentioned it. I saw a video yesterday of him on Facebook. It was like a reel somebody posted, or is that Instagram, whatever. Mm-hmm. And he's holding a deck of cards. He goes, 52 cards in a deck. If you hand them to someone and shuffle them and then lay them all out in order, how many different orders could you get out of a 52-card deck of cards? Right. And the number is literally multiple trillions. And he explains it, and I just stared at my computer going, I can't believe this. I mean, it's more than there are stars in the galaxy. You can have combinations of an order. And he said, in the history of playing cards, Ever since cards were invented, the millions and millions of humans who have played with a deck of cards every time, every day, all around the world, millions of cards are shuffled and dealt out. He said, there's a more than like, he goes, I'm 99% certain no one's ever shuffled the same deck in the history of cards.
I saw that video.
I think he's bluffing.
It's very nice. But the clock thing, I'm ready to be. Every year they say, well, there's a movement in Congress to change it. I really wish they would. Don't we have some clock shtick, right? Don't we, Tony?
Oh, yeah. There's a great classic Rob Schneider routine. His clip, his take on daylight savings time. You want to hear it?
Yeah.
My mom called me. She left a little message in my machine last fall. Robert, set your clock back. This is Mom. Robert, set your clock back. This is Mom. She always has to identify herself. Like I would have no idea who that annoying voice is. It's like, who else would be calling me, telling me to set my clock back? Rob, this is your 8th grade gym coach, Mr. Bauman. I know we haven't talked in a while. Set your clock back. Don't forget to wear a cup. We don't want you to hurt yourself if you're setting the clock back. Look out for that big hand. We'll talk again in the spring, Bub. I got a lot of calls from me.
Talking in the spring.
Wear your cup.
I have a buddy who will remain nameless, and anytime he leaves me a message on my phone, he identifies himself. And I've said many times, we have caller ID. I know your voice. We've known each other for 35 years.
Yeah.
And you still are leaving messages like it's 1984.
I still do that with my mom. I do it with every message that I leave, which is one every 8 months.
Yeah, right.
But I just did it recently with Mom. Mom, it's Brian, your son.
Wow.
Just letting her know.
Yeah, Cookie will still go,
the
this is your mother.
Yeah,
well, and that's fine. By the way, that's fine. Carte blanche. But when you're a younger person, when you've grown up with cell phones and spent this much time with them, and again, it's like I still call people and they answer their phone like, hello. I'm like, you know it's me, right? You still answer like it's 1971 landline.
Yeah, right.
Hello?
Right.
Like, what are you questioning who I am? My name is on your phone.
Yeah. Well, it's a salutation.
I guess it is. But I just say, like, what's up, man? Or,
right.
Hey, what's up? I just jump into it.
Right.
Yeah, right.
We don't need the pleasantries.
I just wait until it goes to voicemail and text, what's up?
Thank you. There you go. Even better.
Hey, get that toaster out again, Tony. Colors 9 and 2 right now. We're going back to it. 651-989-ROCK. Round 2 of Beat the Toaster for your chance to win tickets to the Bag Mat again, right? We're doing the same one?
No, new prizes.
Oh, I didn't get that email.
You're gonna have your yes, you did. Silly man. You're going to have your choice of Billy Joel or Stevie Nicks Ticks or Iron Maiden.
Oh, good God. What a Sophie's choice that is.
All right, there you go.
Fair enough. Let's do it.
Hang tight.
It's the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS. Zep, Tony, Candace, and Steve Gorman are the KQ Morning Show. 92 KQRS.
Journey with Don't Stop Believing. Imagine being Jonathan Cain. You're in a band called Journey. You have a great career going, and then you write a song that harkens back to a time when you were a little worried about your career. Things weren't going as well as you'd hoped, and you called your dad for a pep talk. And in that call, his dad said, hey, kid, don't stop believing.
Aww.
That's where that song came from. It's a wonderful story. And then you write the song. It's a huge hit. It's an iconic hit. And it comes out, and people around the world love it for decades. And then, in a flash like that, for the rest of all time, all I think of is Meadow Soprano trying to parallel park when I hear that song.
Right.
All that goodwill and love for a song. And now I just see a girl who can't park her car every time I hear it. And then, of course, I imagine Tony's brains getting blown out all over the diner. But that's a different story. Yeah, I mean, seriously, I remember that song has never been the same since the final episode of The Sopranos.
It's my God. I'm like 2 episodes away from finally finishing The Sopranos.
Oh, my God.
Spoiler alert, it doesn't end well for Tony.
I know. I never did get to that last season, but
Really?
everybody was so freaked out. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah,
What
I'm
the
only
heck?
good for 2 or 3 seasons. Back off.
And missed a couple things.
You can skip the whole second to last season.
I did. I just went to like Breaking Bad. I missed the last 2 seasons, so I just went to the last episode.
Attaboy.
Yeah. I feel like I got the same experience everyone else did.
You got the Badfinger song. That's all you needed.
Yep. Ruined it for me.
Yeah, sure. But it's just an amazing thing. And I remember watching The Sopranos, Rosemary and I at home watching, and when Tony puts that, I'm like, really? We're going to go out on a Journey song like in real time. I was like, this is how the show's going to end? And then, of course, a little bit more happens. It was pretty spectacular. But it's a nice story about a pep talk from Dad, isn't it?
That is a cute story.
Hey, kid, don't stop believing. If I wrote a song about like my dad's pep talks, it would be like, find a chair and use it. He'd get mad. We're all running around.
Yeah.
Hey, find a chair and use it. Or he'd come up and he'd like flick you on the cheek, like kind of hurt, and he'd go, you earned that. You earned that from your dad. Yeah, okay.
Find a chair and use it. There's something there.
There's definitely something there.
Yeah.
It's a country song, isn't it?
Find a chair and use it.
You better find a chair and use it.
Don't abuse it.
You're going to lose it.
Didn't choose
You're
it.
going to lose it. You know what? I tell you what. Let's write that country song, but it's on death row. Find a chair and use it.
Yeah.
And you're trying to get that last pardon from the governor.
Yeah.
And if the governor calls, you ain't going to use that chair. Old Sparky's going to sit here and be all inert.
Killed a man in a bar fight.
Man, we're writing country hits right here. I did write a country song once with a guy in seriously. We wrote a whole song, and it was called "Hopeless Semantic."
I like it.
Yeah. Which came out of me just throwing. I said we were talking about words, and I said, you know me, I'm a hopeless semantic. And he goes, "Let's write that right now." And I was like, God, you country songwriters are weird.
There's not a country fan that would understand that.
That's highfalutin.
That's the problem. Yeah. I tell you what's highfalutin, and that's Billy Joel and Stevie Nicks. And you know what's even more highfalutin? Iron Maiden. Holy smokes, this town's full of concerts. Billy Joel and Stevie Nicks are here a week from tonight at the U.S. Bank Stadium. Iron Maiden at the XL Energy Center, that is Tuesday, October 22nd, 2024, which my calendar tells me is in 11 months. So that doesn't mean it's too soon to give away tickets. We've got tickets to both events, and we're going to play a game, and the winner will choose which tickets they will receive. The runner-up will walk with the others, I assume.
Mm-hmm. That is true. They just get first choice.
Yeah, first choice to the winner. And this is an amazing day. For the second time today, about to play America's favorite game. Tony?
It's anxiety-inducing. It's good, clean fun.
Wakey, wakey, eggs and bakey.
Toast. Toast. Toast.
I would like toast.
Toast.
Who wants toast? I love toast.
When this guy put some bread in a toaster, you won't believe what happened next.
You've got bread and a toaster of some kind.
Can you make me a grilled cheese sandwich?
Your breakfast is ready.
I didn't hear a ding.
The KQ Morning Show presents
All we need to do is beat the toaster.
Beat the toaster.
It's a game show. Beat the toaster.
Breakfast is ready.
Yep, beat the toaster. Here's what we do. We're going to pop in a hypothetical slice of bread into the toaster here in the studio, and we'll give you a category. Then you name as many things that pop into your head as possible in 15 seconds before the toast pops.
I can't wait. Is one of the categories colors of the rainbow?
Yes,
No,
you've ruined it.
I'm actually mocking you. The first version of this game today was impossible, which, of course, is how we like it. All right, Candace, who is contestant number one?
Steve from Brooklyn Park or Center. I didn't write which one.
One of the Brooklyns.
Oh, Steve, good morning.
Morning, folks.
How you feeling, brother?
I'm just waking up, but feeling good.
All right. Well, this game will go along with. This game is better than caffeine. Let me tell you. This will get you wide awake. So Tony's going to explain your category. I wish you the best of luck, sir.
Woo.
All right, Mr. Man, your goal is to gain 50 pounds as quickly as possible, but you can only eat wearing wool mittens. What are you going to eat to bulk up? Go.
gratin potatoes, apples, Cheez-Its, Little Debbie's, watermelon, ice cream bars, ice cream sandwiches. Became BLT sick.
I got a solid 7 there.
Yeah.
That's 7.
He came in with 7. Attaboy.
Apples was it? Well, I mean, it's the answer. It works, but
I suppose.
I don't know if that's really good for weight gain. But I just thought. But I like the wool mittens. That's tough.
I think they're starting to understand here that it really doesn't. There are no wrong answers.
Just throw them out there.
It just has to be understandable.
The Cheez-It would stick to the wool mitten.
Yeah,
it sure would.
That'd be difficult.
But it counts.
Yeah, it does.
And you can hide a walrus on a train. I'm just sure of it.
Wait, so you're telling me Cheez-Its aren't a good way to lose weight? That's because I get a bag every morning. I got to rethink this whole thing. All right, Steve, 7, strong first effort, my man. All right, sit tight. We're gonna We're gonna put on caller number 2 right now, and we'll be back to you momentarily. Candace, who is contestant number 2?
Paul from Oakdale.
Paul, good morning.
Good morning.
Are you wide awake? Are you ready to rock it?
I'm ready to rock it. I've been on hold so long, I took a shower and brushed my teeth.
Attaboy. That's excellent time management, sir. Well done. Good luck to you.
All right, good hygiene, Paul. Here you go. For some reason, you have to hold and wear an accordion at all times, wherever you go, whatever you do. When people ask you why, how will you respond? Go.
A bet, a dare. I'm learning lessons. My dad told me to.
Dad told me.
Look what you've inspired this morning, Steve.
Very good.
You didn't clean out the gutters, then by God, you're going to wear this accordion for the whole week.
That was good.
Could be great. I can see Dad doing that.
That's great. All very good. Is that 3 I got for Paul?
I got 3.
Okay. All right, Paul. Strong start. Sit tight. We're going to get here for round 2. We're going back to Steve, who came out of the gate on fire with 7. Good luck for round 2, Steve.
Woo.
All right, Steve. Steve, you're forced to watch a marathon of boring documentaries. What would the titles be? Go.
Last train to Clarksville. Who's on first? The Thing. The Christmas Thing. How to lose weight in 30 days.
Got 5. The Christmas Thing.
The last train to Clarksville. I thought the next one was going to be Daydream Believer.
Right.
Holy smokes. All right, fair enough. I think the Christmas Thing would be kind of exciting, that some sort of weird monster that eats. Oh no, whatever.
Right.
All right, nice job. So how many was that? Is that 4 or 5?
That was 5.
That's 5. So Steve is sitting tight at a 12. Wow. All right, well, let's go back to Paul for round 2. Paul, it is not impossible, but it is a challenge. I wish you the best of luck, sir.
You ready, Mr. Paul?
We're ready.
All right. In football, as you know, they throw a penalty flag when a player does something wrong. If referees followed you around all day, what in your life would they throw flags at you for? Go.
Farting, scratching your balls. Bad cooking. Exercising. Shopping too much.
Oh, we just got
driving.
Ready to give him shopping too much?
Yeah.
5.
Hey, you're done.
The toast is popped, brother.
Throw a flag on him.
We're gonna give you 5 on that. Hell, I'll give you 6 on that one for a total of 9. That's not quite enough, but boy, straight up farting and scratching your balls. That was coming in hot, brother.
That came out really quick too.
Yeah, it did. Not the first time that those conversations have come up for Paul, I think. Paul, well played, sir. Not quite enough to get the win. So, Steve, as our winner today, you get to choose. Do you want to go see Billy Joel and Stevie Nicks a week from tonight, or do you want to see Iron Maiden next October?
Yes.
Oh, it's one or the other. Billy and Stevie or
Billy
Iron
Joel,
Maiden?
baby.
Okay.
Stevie next, baby.
All right, you're going to go see them a week from tonight. That means that that means that Paul, you have Iron Maiden tickets for next October.
Wow.
Gentlemen, thank you both for calling and playing.
Right on. Thanks.
You got it.
Thank you.
Iron Maiden, it's great that you get tickets for a show in October. For me, though, it's problematic. I'm the guy who had Pearl Jam tickets and forgot that day to go to the show.
Forgot.
They were in town. I haven't seen Pearl Jam in 30 years.
Yeah.
And I'm friends with a couple of those guys. And I literally just got in bed Thursday night I'm going to turn in early. Nothing going on. I woke up Friday morning going, what the hell? I totally spaced.
I forget the movie with Guy Pearce, who had short-term memory loss. He could only remember
Memento.
things. What?
Memento.
Yeah. You need to just start tattooing these things onto your body. Pearl Jam tonight. A game show next.
It's really true.
Yeah.
Actually, the Iron Maiden tickets would be easy for me. It's long-term memory. You give me those tickets today, and then say next week to me, "Are you going to see Iron Maiden?" I'd go, "No." But in a month, I'd be like, "Yeah, October 22nd. What are you talking about?" My filing, filtering brain memory system is so weird. Man, I mean, I do remember that the Beatles put out a song yesterday. That's kind of exciting.
Well, speaking of the Beatles, remember you have an interview coming up. Veteran rock journalist who wrote liner notes for the 40th anniversary reissue of Tattoo You and the 50th anniversary reissue of Sgt. Pepper's talks new Rolling Stones album and upcoming final single by the Beatles. Jeff Slate joining us at 8:30. Hang tight.
It's the KQ Morning Show. 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. It is Friday, November 3rd. That's very good news. We just heard Back in Black, the title track to AC/DC's album, which is the biggest selling rock album worldwide of all time, which is just an astounding thing to think about. I heard something the other day. So on the heels of this Beatles song we just heard yesterday, when it was first announced in June there was going to be a new Beatles song, Paul McCartney used the words artificial intelligence to describe how the song was put together. And a lot of people immediately assumed, they just built a song that's not real. He misspoke. There was definitely new software used, but it wasn't to create a John Lennon vocal track. It was to separate a vocal track from a piano track. It's a long-winded way of saying it's actually John Lennon's voice. Why am I mentioning this now after hearing Back in Black? I just saw a link the other day. Somebody used AI to recreate Bon Scott, but Bon Scott, the original lead singer of AC/DC, singing the Back in Black album, which is, of course, sung by Brian Johnson. And it's really weird because it sounds pretty much like Bon Scott singing that song Back in Black, and it's bizarro. That's not the case, as I said, with Now and Then, the Beatles tune, which was released yesterday. And right now, to discuss that and a few other things, Jeff Slate is joining us on the KQ Morning Show, a veteran rock journalist. Jeff wrote liner notes for a lot of things: the 40th anniversary reissue of the Stones' Tattoo You, the 50th anniversary reissue of Sgt. Pepper's, and an awful lot of other times over the years he has written about the Beatles. Jeff, thanks for calling in, brother.
No problem. Appreciate it.
So Now and Then, we've played it yesterday. We've already played it once today, and we talked about it like everybody has for the last few months. This is clearly a labor of love for Paul McCartney at this point. This is a song that he's had kind of in the back of his mind for a long time. Is that not correct?
Yeah, I think the story goes that they tried it in 94, 95, went during the anthology sessions. For people who don't remember, there's a documentary series about the Beatles in the mid-90s called Anthology, where they told their story, and they did a couple of reunion songs. And, the Beatles being a democracy, George either didn't like the song or couldn't deal with the technical limitations because the quality of it was not as good as the others. But Paul, by all accounts, loved the song, thought it had a great chorus and had a beautiful message, and has kept it in the back of his mind. He's talked about it in interviews, in the Living in the Material World George Harrison documentary and the Jeff Lynne ELO documentary.
Right.
Any interviewer who ever asked him about it, he'd talk about this. So it's clearly something that he wanted to do. And with Peter Jackson, who directed did the Get Backs miniseries last year, developed this technology where they could, remove background sounds so they could isolate a vocal or a guitar or a piano or whatever it was. And they did that to John Lennon's voice, and all of a sudden, it was basically a lead vocal that they could work with. So with the technical limitations gone, he was able to, I think, as you said rightly, pour his heart and soul into this, and it was absolutely a labor of love, and it sounds like it. It's the best thing he's done in a very long time.
Yeah, it really is something we were saying earlier. It already is growing on us. At first listen, it's definitely goosebump inducing to hear Lennon's voice like that. You're wondering about, is the song catchy, blah blah blah, whatever goes through everyone's mind. But now, having heard it, half a dozen times at least, it sits really nicely in my craw. I think, to your point too, it's Paul's really put a lot of heart into this one. I mean, and knowing it's going to be the last Beatles song, how is it possible? What is it beyond just the music that a band that is now 53 years removed from being an operational band has not lost a bit of steam, and in fact is bigger than ever?
I think it's those songs. I think the difficulty, like you said, the first time you hear Now and Then, the bar is very high with the Beatles. These aren't, this isn't like the Hollies or the Mercy Beats or something. This is like a really big band who have written some of the greatest songs of, ever in the history of music. But I do agree it's a song that will grow on you. But I think the reason for their longevity, besides the fact that they all have such unique and individual personalities and such charisma, and the story is so perfect from, sort of beginning to end, that sort of 62 to 70 period, plus the loss of John Lennon, the way he was killed, and George Harrison at a relatively young age of 58. There's so much that's unbelievable about this story, that these guys even found each other and then were able to create this body of work, that the story is fascinating. But I think the thing that hooks in every generation of kids that comes along is the songs. They hear the songs in the car with their parents, and that's the gateway drug, essentially.
Yeah, that's really true. I mean, that was the case with my kids. It was the case with all my friends' kids.
Mine
it's
too.
Just one of those things. Yeah, sure. We're going to set the clocks back on Sunday. I didn't know we were going to set them back 50 years to where the Beatles and the Stones are the two biggest stories in popular music right now. So let's talk about the Stones as well. Hackney Diamonds in a different way. We made this point yesterday. The Beatles and Stones used to get out of each other's way when they would release singles so as not to compete head to head. And I feel like that's what happened this year. Paul said, okay, you guys take September and October. We'll take November and December. The more things change, the more they stay the same. Hackney Diamonds. Were you surprised the first time you heard this album top to bottom? Did you think that they still had a quality album in the can? I mean, in the bag to bring down to the world ever?
I didn't. But the Stones are, and especially without Charlie Watts, who died a few years ago, and I think I was on your show when he passed even. But you never want to count the Stones out, and Mick and Keith are incredibly competitive guys, as is Paul McCartney. They don't want to put out a crappy album.
Right.
I was a little dubious when Angry came out. I didn't love it. It felt a little bit like maybe a Mick solo tune or maybe a 90s Stones tune. But then I got, an early copy of the album, and there's probably 6 or 8 of the songs that I just absolutely fell in love with. And that's a lot on an album by a modern artist. Forget about, a legacy artist.
Right.
So I was surprised, and I think that's the thing. We want these guys to succeed. They're so much a part of our DNA. We love them even though they're not family members, but we love them that way. So to see them put out something that isn't not just embarrassing, but isn't just okay, that it's, it really does their legacy proud and hits all the right notes. Charlie Watts is on there on a couple of songs. Even Bill Wyman is on there, the original bass player. It just, it feels good, and I think that's the best part about it. But did I expect it to be as good as it is? Probably not. but that's me.
Jeff Slate's with us on the KQ Morning Show. You've written about a lot of things in a hell of a career: Esquire, Wall Street Journal, Rolling Stone, et cetera, and including on that list, you did contribute liner notes to the 50th anniversary reissue of Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band. How do you even get your arms around coming up with something new to say about Sgt. Pepper after 50 years? Once you get started, I can see it being easy, but how do you even start? Because what is left to say that hasn't already been said?
It was funny. I got a call from the Beatles office asking if I wanted to do, literally a phone call, asking if I wanted to do this. And of course, you immediately say yes. It's like the greatest honor in the world to be associated in any way, shape, or form with the Beatles. And then I got off the phone and I was like, oh no, I've got to actually do this. So that was not lost on me. They had a particular story they wanted to tell, and they left me to it. And it was a pretty quick turnaround, which is a good thing. I didn't have months to sort of ponder it. I just had to get down and do it. And I can't say the first draft was all that good, but look, the Beatles story is it's like I was saying earlier. It's such a beautiful story. It's such a beautiful friendship. It's kind of hard to get it wrong. This like Now and Then, it would have to be kind of bad for us not to get goosebumps the first time we hear it.
Sure.
But it was, I got to say, a little overwhelming, and was it was really nice to get positive feedback. The thing is, there's 4 people who read it before anybody else, and that's Paul and Ringo, Olivia and Yoko at that time. And they all liked it. I think there were a couple of notes, a couple of changes that they wanted made. But, once sort of Paul McCartney signs off on something, I think I felt a little better about what I'd done.
Yeah. Hey, Jeff, I want to, I this summer watched the Duluth Dylan Festival 2023. I streamed it. I see that you and Mark Bosch's performance is on YouTube as well. I'd like to encourage our listeners to go check that out if they haven't had a chance to watch it yet. And you have some new music out as well with the likes of Earl Slick and Duff McKagan, The Poacher and Heartbreak. Talk about those, please.
Yeah, well, I loved coming to Duluth and Hibbing, and hope to do it again with the full band. I think this year that's what we've been talking about. We had a great time. I made a quick stop over in Minneapolis and loved it there as well. During lockdown, like everybody else who is a musician, I made a record. And because all of my friends in the music business were doing the same thing, just sitting around, puttering in their home studios, I just sent it around. I sent the songs around to all the guys I know. So I've got some Heartbreakers on there, guy from the Wallflowers, Duff is on it. As you said, I think Slick plays on, I think he's on all of the tracks. And some of the guys from Noel Gallagher's band and Paul Weller's band and Nick Mason's band. It's just like sort of everybody I know in rock and roll that has a home studio. But that's how it came about. And because of being an indie artist, you don't want to put it out right away like everybody else because it just gets lost. You have to find the right time. So it's not, the singles have kind of trickled out, and the album won't, I think, come out until March. So it's not, crushed by everybody else's. I mean, Duff made an album during the pandemic, and he just put it out last month. So, you got to be a little bit careful, but I leave the business to the label guys. For me, it was, like Now and Then for Paul, it was just a labor of love. It was just something I wanted to do more than something I had to do on a deadline or on a clock or for an obligation. And I think that's the best way to make music.
Sure. Jeff Slate, writing about music, performing music, doing a pretty great job at all of it. JeffSlateHQ.com is the website. Wonderful words. I read, the Sgt. Pepper stuff I didn't mention. I love those liner notes. And I appreciate your thoughts on Now and Then and Hackney Diamonds. Thank you for calling in, sir.
Thanks, Steve. It's a pleasure to be on.
You got it. See ya.
That's great. I bet we were sitting there talking to him for several minutes. You were, Steve, and it suddenly occurred to me. I was like, "That's Jeff Slate." Yeah, I'm remembering now the Dylan Duluth Festival that I didn't have a chance to get up and check out this summer, but I was able to stream it, and that's on YouTube. So cool.
Yeah, that is cool. Hey, if you're thinking about what you could do with $9,000, you might want to pay attention to this because the 92 KQRS Kickback Jackpot is sitting on $9,000. You can meet up with Candace Wheeler and Bud Light at Bogart's in Apple Valley. I believe that's south of Richfield, Candace.
It's a little farther than Richfield.
A little farther than Richfield. Candace is going south. During the first half of this Sunday's game, sign up for the kickback jackpot. If the first play of the second half is a kickoff return for a touchdown by either team, you could win $9,000. If not, we're going to roll the prize money over to the next game and add another 10 and add another 1,000 to the pot. Complete contest rules are at 92kqrs.com.
Yeah,
Bogart's, Apple Valley, Candace Wheeler, Bud Light. What could go wrong?
Yeah, I mean, the money is cool, but don't you want to have a fun Sunday fun day with me at a cool bar?
Yeah. The answer is yes.
When you put it like that, yeah.
Oh, gosh. We're going to go down south past Richfield.
All right, we have a comedian to chat with here. Acme Comedy headliner Sean Patton joining us at 9 o'clock. Hang tight.
Yeah, dude.
It's the KQ Morning Show. 92 KQRS. Zep, Tony, Candace, and Steve Gorman are the KQ Morning Show. 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. In a few moments, we will be joined in studio by Sean Patton. He's at Acme this weekend. He's a very funny gentleman. He's on his way in as we speak. In the meantime...
After bar went a little late last night.
Ooh, really?
Yeah.
Are you saying that maybe what happened, or do you know something we don't?
I don't know. I just have a feeling that he got a little, the Acme staff will do that to you.
Man, that's not cool.
It is cool.
Oh, it is cool.
They made him party against his will, I'll bet.
It's very cool.
Don't make me party, Acme staff. But hey, we've kind of buried the lead today, guys. If I'm not mistaken, it's National Sandwich Day.
Oh, yeah.
All right, thank goodness.
I don't know what
That's
that
my
really
thing.
means.
I don't know. That's about probably 80% of my diet is sandwiches.
Is that true? 80%?
Yeah, that's a single guy for 30 years. That's sandwich, man.
What's
3
the other
sandwiches
20?
a day. Sandwiches.
Liquid.
Yeah.
So what favorite bread? Like you got one,
Big sourdough guy, but otherwise anything but ciabatta.
Okay.
Ciabatta can be a little harsh. I
don't
agree.
like it. It's too thick. It's all bread. The bread is not the star of the show. It's to hold the stuff together.
You know what you are.
12 sandwich eating mother.
That's right. I am a 12 sandwich eating mother.
The bread's the star if you go with a little little pumpernickel. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Oh, you know what I've been digging lately is the pretzel bread.
Ooh,
I like the pretzel bread. Yeah, that's the way to do it.
Yeah, sure.
That's a pretzel and a sandwich.
That is. Any reason to open up this debate? I mean, we don't call a hot dog a sandwich around here, do we?
No, sir.
Okay, just making sure. There are sorts of, a lot of people have National Sandwich Day specials. Potbelly, Jimmy John, Schlatzky. You can go to a lot of places today for a sandwich and get a deal. That's all I'm saying. So go enjoy a sandwich.
Yeah, Nelson's Deli.
Ooh,
the best sandwich in town, isn't it?
There's a lot.
Probably.
A lot of delis.
Yeah.
Delis.
Do you like that one, Tony?
It's the only way to say that. You have to do that when you say Schlatzky.
Yeah, you can't. I mean, they do a nice sandwich over That's how I've always seen it anyway. Hey, speaking of pretzel bread, I'm not really sure how to get into this, so I'll just get into it. Google, every now and again, we see the most searched fill in the blank, the most searched soft drink, the most searched brewery location. By state, a list has come out where they're sharing the most Google searched sexual positions.
Yeah.
And in the state of Minnesota, along with 13 other states, the most searched sex position is, in fact, the pretzel. The pretzel sex position.
Yeah.
This is not, sadly, where you're having sex while eating a pretzel sandwich. I just thought that might be what it is.
Or having sex with a pretzel sandwich.
We're just having a snack here while we're taking a break from the hijinks and having some pretzels. This is apparently, I don't think I need to go in to explain what it is, but I just want you to know that here in Minnesota, a lot of people are curious about what the pretzel sex position is.
I think it's probably going to spike again today now with our listeners wondering what the heck is the pretzels, Think of the gals scissoring. But you're the guy and the gal scissoring.
Okay,
basically is what it's happening.
You have to be
scissoring.
limber.
Yeah,
I think so. Probably.
Right.
There's it's kind of a twist on the pretzel twist on the old missionary there. I think.
You're slathered in mustard.
Oh, been there.
That's like my favorite
Salted.
Seinfeld episode is when George sneaks all the food into the bedroom.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Why are you talking about it like that?
Because I like
Is your
food.
mom sitting nearby?
Sex parties.
Yeah, combining food and sex. That's
I'm
a
into
tricky one. Yeah. I mean, there are some things. Ice cream. Tried that one.
Let's go!
Yeah, not bad.
Makes me think about, what's that movie, Like Water for Chocolate? Remember that one? Ooh.
Or 9.5 weeks.
Let's see,
Mickey
neither of
Rourke, they
those.
did that
Mickey Rourke.
sexy food escapade.
Mickey Rooney. I said Mickey
What'd they
Rooney.
go with?
Mickey Rourke.
Yeah.
What was on the menu?
There's grapes. There was chocolate, I believe. And some peanut brittle, probably.
Oh.
It's crunchy.
I prefer just a large mixing bowl of saltine crackers.
Oh, that's nice. A
Just
good
like
queso.
as many
Mashed?
crumbs as you can. Yeah, crunch
Wait,
them up.
that's not queso.
Yeah.
Oh,
I can't handle the crumbs in the bed situation.
my dad said the same thing.
Did he?
Yeah, well, then when they went and ate at that nudist colony,
I was going to make a comment.
yeah, he said he didn't like the crumbs. When you're eating naked, yeah, he just got a lot of crumbs in his, belly hairs, I guess.
Well, we mentioned earlier in the show. There's certain times you meet someone, and we were putting it in the terms of like the Beatles as a miracle they ever met. Sometimes you're like, I can't believe I actually ran into that person. That's why the saltines come. When you find someone that's down with the saltines, that's the person you got to stay with.
I do love a mean saltine.
I'm a sucker for a cracker.
You know what's the best? If you put a very thin, I'm so fat. If you put a very thin layer of butter on it and then peanut butter on top of it.
That's insane.
Yeah, it's crazy.
My cousin used to
Hold on. What are you,
dip 'em.
English? Putting butter on stuff like that?
Maybe.
Wait, you butter a saltine and then add
I've
peanut
been
butter
known
to the
to butter a saltine. Yeah.
Okay, I get that, but then you go with peanut butter on top of the
Yep.
butter. Butter.
You are a madman.
Right.
Yeah,
Peanut butter on a saltine, that's tough, without crumbling it like that.
It's a thing that my mom used to do when I was sick.
Oh, it's comforting.
Yeah.
Peanut. I know. I'm a fan of. It's been less than a week since I had a saltine with peanut butter on it. It's a staple for me. I am a saltine fanatic. But you have to have a beverage nearby. You've got to have it. For me, usually a glass of water. When I was a kid, it was a glass of milk.
Yeah, it's muddy.
Yeah, if you're going peanut butter and saltines, it's like the the old milk ad. Remember the TV commercial where the guy is listening to the radio and they ask the question, who had the famous duel with Alexander Hamilton, and he's just taking a big bite of peanut butter, and then he doesn't have milk. It's a got milk ad, and he's going, he's trying to say Aaron Burr, but he's got a mouthful of peanut butter. That guy in that commercial was my neighbor in Los Angeles.
Seriously?
Yeah, and he was walking down the street one day, pushing a stroller, and I was like, that's the peanut butter guy.
Funny.
Yeah, his name was Sean. Great dude. I haven't thought about him in years.
Here's to you, Sean.
Yeah, good job.
We're missing a Sean. I could use a Sean right now.
Yeah, I think we should we're going to have him on at 9:30. I'm making an executive decision.
I like that. I like when Big Candace comes in. You said it, not me.
Power
You guys want to hear?
Let me go ahead and say one thing. Sorry, Zep. Candace, you're not fat. You're not. You
No,
look
I just
great.
meant like I get really dirty with my food sometimes, like gluttonous. Like I'll just do gross things.
Like, okay, beyond eating it. It's gross before you eat it, and then it's even grosser as you eat. Is that what's
It's
happening?
just I like to eat alone. I'll just say that.
Okay, is there snorting and like, is it like,
Eat alone.
is that what's happening?
Sometimes, yeah, I just don't like to be. I'm much more comfortable eating alone.
Saliva buildup.
Man,
I just do bad things. I drown things in ranch, and I'm disgusting.
because I eat alone. Yeah, when I'm eating, I don't want to be by myself. There's a Thorogood song in there. for you. I do have one quick baseball note I wanted to share. This is something Candace just sent a few minutes ago, and it's just as a complete non sequitur. This is my favorite story of the day. On August 17th, 1957, which was exactly 8 years before I was born, the Philadelphia Phillies were playing the New York Giants, and a guy came to bat for Philadelphia named Richie Ashburn. He's in the Hall of Fame, by the way. He fouled a ball off, and as foul balls do, it went into the crowd at a great rate of speed. And he saw it going, and he's like, yeah, hope that doesn't do any damage. The ball squarely smacked a woman in the face. Her name was Alice Roth, and she was at the game with her two grandsons who were like 8 and 11. It smacked her in the face. Her nose was bleeding. She had a black eye. It's just a bloody mess. They halt the game. Paramedics run in. They get her, and they're going to take her away from her seat on a stretcher. As she is laid out on the stretcher, the ump says, "Play ball!" And on the next pitch, Richie Ashburn fouls another ball off in the exact same direction, and it slams into Mrs. Roth's knee on the stretcher.
You got hit again. Got to be kidding me. What are the odds of that happening?
It struck her on the knee. It broke a bone in her leg.
Oh, my God, how... Needs more calcium.
Yeah,
you would think. No word on whether she did in fact suffer from brittle bone disease. But listen, it's okay.
Grandma.
The Phillies did win the game, though. So I mean, all was not lost. So imagine being at a game with your grandmother and you see her take a ball to the face, and then you see her take a ball to the leg on consecutive pitches.
She had it coming. Yeah, the old Alice Roth story.
The Phillies, of course, took care of her and said, hey, this is horrible. We'll give you guys tickets to any game you want to come back. Bring the boys. And the story was that her grandson said, Grandma, can we go to an Eagles game? Do you think you might get hit in the face with a football?
We've already got a couple baseballs. Let's get the football and then,
I'm sorry.
Take over to a Flyers game, get a puck or two.
I'm picturing being at a game with either of my two grandmas and seeing that happen. It would be beyond traumatizing. And then for it to happen twice in a row, just bam, bam. Completely insane. Candace, on the 92 KQ talking text line, I believe we have a caller.
Yes, Drew from Zimmerman has a saltine challenge he wants to give you, Steve.
Wow.
Drew. Lay the cracker gauntlet down, brother. What do you got?
Hey, good morning, guys. All right. Here's the saltine challenge. My friend had a dog, and we would open up a bag of saltine crackers. There's 20 in a sleeve.
Yeah.
And so you start the timer, and this dog could eat saltines as quick as you throw them to him. He's chopping them down, gulping it.
Love that.
And so... after the dog sets the bar at 15 out of 20 in a minute, now it's my buddy's turn, or my turn. And so I get about 3 of them in my mouth at the same time. Mm-hmm. And I'm trying to choke these things down in a minute, and it turns into a paste that is next to impossible to swallow.
Sure.
You're choking on this thing, and your mouth is full. It's hilarious. So give it a try, Steve.
Hey, quick!
Give it a try.
Quick question: was this a one hitter or a bong or a straight up joint? What were you working that day?
Well, I mean, the marijuana is always in the mix, but
sure.
The dog was completely sober. You know, the dog is a machine at this. So if you can beat 15 in a minute, you would be the saltine champion, my friend.
Let's
do it. Beat the dog.
Beat the dog.
A new game.
All right. Well, thank you for that recommendation, my man. We appreciate it.
Hey, you guys rock, man. Thanks a lot.
You got it, brother. This guy right here, Chauncey Gorman, is a fan of saltines, but I've never done a speed challenge with saltines.
Because you ain't got the guts.
I think we should do it.
It just didn't occur to me until now.
Let's do it.
And that's amazing. Anybody else got any suggestions for weird stuff I can do with my dog?
I feel like you're trying to set me up.
You're a wrestling fan.
His nails grow so fast. It's just, and I'm afraid with the clippers. So we don't wrestle that often. Got to get those things ground down. You know how that
I
goes.
love the visual of the dog slamming the saltines.
You could just see it like, count. Yeah, for sure. No, Chauncey's hacking up enough stuff as it is. I don't need to add dry salted crackers to the mix. Trust me, that's a recipe for disaster. Sean Patton is at the Acme Comedy Club tonight. 2 shows, tomorrow 2 shows. He might be with us in a few minutes. That word on the street is he is on his way. He's circling.
It's the KQ Morning Show. 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. It is Friday, November the 3rd, and if you're looking for something to do tonight or tomorrow night, you could do a lot worse than head over to Acme Comedy. Sean Patton, 7 o'clock and 9:30, both tonight and tomorrow. And Sean Patton is now in studio with us. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, good sir. And I mean that.
Well, I'm going to start right here. What's your problem?
I got a blown calf. It hurts.
I'm sorry, what?
Yeah,
Is that like a fatted calf?
You know what? I'm gonna start saying that. A fatted calf.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
It's just more biblical.
Yeah,
they used to fatten up a calf for some high holidays.
Oh yes. I mean, I've definitely got a fatted calf from years of just downing Chinese food on the road and other kinds of food. It's not a racial thing. No, I was on the Bert Kreischer cruise last week, and I blew my calf out doing karaoke.
Oh, really?
Oh, of course, what song is the right answer? It was Incubus, Anomaly, or Animali. It's a name.
Yeah.
It's a great song.
That's a crowd pleaser.
Yes, of course.
The kind of song you can't stand still for, clearly.
The kind of song you run around in circles and jump up and down and swing your hair around and shout with a blown voice. And then the next thing you know, I felt it like an athlete. You know when athletes say you feel a pop? I felt the pop, and I was like, I just blew my calf. This is going to suck, but I got to finish the song. We're only at the bridge.
Any chance you can, any opportunity to relate to a professional athlete, you got to take advantage of.
Exactly. I'm wearing this New Orleans Saints hat. It's not about the Saints. It's about Justin Jefferson. He's from Louisiana, I'm pretty sure.
Yes, he is, indeed. As are you, is that correct? Are you a New Orleans guy?
Yes, sir. Born and bred. I live in New York now, but, I grew up in the Crescent City, the mud town. Mm-hmm. No one's ever called it mud town, but now I'm gonna.
I like that. I was like, wow, I never heard that one.
Yeah. I mean, it's muddy. That's for sure.
That's very sure.
It rains all the time, and tourists pee everywhere because they drink their brains off.
That's what it's there for.
And that's what they think it's there for.
I just saw the new Candace and I saw the new Fincher movie, the Killer. What was the line about New Orleans? He said. He goes...
Oh, the Michael Fassbender movie?
Yeah.
It's out already?
It's playing up the street.
Is it good?
It's pretty good.
Yeah.
I like that. I like that guy.
Yeah. And there was just a throwaway line. He goes to New Orleans at one point and he goes, New Orleans, 1,000 restaurants and one menu. Something along those lines. Which
good.
With the same food, with the same menu.
Okay, fine.
Yeah,
Candace.
you got it wrong. I just wanted to clear that up.
Okay, great.
That changes everything.
We got the point, Candace.
Does it get it? They have the same kind of food every restaurant.
Oh, I get it now. Yeah, great.
Imagine if Candace could just do that throughout your life every day. Just whenever you say anything, she just chimes in out of nowhere.
Yeah, just imagine.
I don't. It doesn't take that active an imagination. Just hang out. What you're living through is our daily hell right now.
Hey.
So, Sean, I'm very familiar with New Orleans. I've spent an awful lot of time there, but I don't relate it to comedy. Of course, I just think about music because that's all I'm ever doing there is seeing or hopefully playing music. What's the comedy scene in New Orleans like?
I mean, it's a small but mighty comedy scene.
Yeah,
it's
I could see that.
A place called the Dragon's Den that does comedy on Friday and Saturdays, and it's really cool. And but you got to go. It's not, it's a European city, so people are like, why do I want to go watch some other jerk talk when I'm having so much fun talking and laughing and eating one of these 5 different menu items.
What have you learned about New Orleans from not living there anymore? Like when you go back, I mean, is there, it's always interesting to be in a place that's so iconic, but when you're from there, you just see it as home. Is there anything that have you had any of those moments where you're like, oh, I get it now, where it may not have ever have occurred to you before?
I'm going to say something to you real quick. That's the best question I've ever been asked about it.
Well, then we are done, ladies and gentlemen. We're back on the air Monday. See you later.
If there is a Pulitzer or a Grammy that I could give you for interview questions, that would be one, because usually people are like, what's better, gumbo or jambalaya? But you're right. Like, what I learned is everywhere else in the world, they expect you to be places on time. which is
That's great. That's it. Yeah.
New Orleans. It's like I'll be there at 9. That means 9:22.
Yep.
You know.
Yep.
And that's acceptable there.
Yeah.
Because everything moves at like a slower. That's why I call it Mud Town.
That's great.
Everything moves like it's in the mud.
Yeah, I've got friends from New Orleans, and it's definitely a city that it's one thing to go and hang out and have fun, and then you meet a local, and then you see their version of that city, and it's an entirely different planet than what you would find on your own.
100%.
And you know, musically speaking, and I think I've told this story before, but it speaks to every bit of New Orleans I know, which is. Years ago, I was on the road, and the Dirty Dozen Brass Band was our opening band.
Oh, for sure, man.
And I said to Ephraim...
They were your opening band?
Yeah, we took them out in 95 for months and months. And they played on a bunch of our records. They're great.
That's awesome.
Ephraim, the trumpet player, I said, who's the baddest drummer you know? And to ever come out of here? And he goes, well, but he never came out. I said, what do you mean? He goes... It's a guy who plays a bucket, and he's never left the parish in his life. And I go, and he's the best drummer you know? He goes... Oh, yeah. And then Kevin came in. I said, Kevin, who's the best drummer you know? And he goes, oh, it's this bucket guy down in And they all had the same guy.
Oh, yeah, man.
And he said he'd been offered 1 million opportunities to leave tour. And he said, no, he's just worried about the food. He really didn't want to leave. And there's such a... And I know anybody I've ever met who is from or relocated to New Orleans. I mean, it's like it gets your claws into you and you don't leave.
Oh, yeah, it's too, like, the food is delicious. Terrible for you.
Yeah.
But amazing. And I have the same thing. I have relatives who, I want to come visit you in New York. I'm like, please come visit me in New York. And they're like, but can I find a good etouffee? And you're like, no, you can't.
No.
You have to give, if you want to visit, you have to just resign yourself to the fact you will not be eating this. There's other good foods.
Yeah.
I could show you a whole world.
When I moved to New York from Georgia, people would say, have you found any good soul food yet? And I'm like, no, but I go to this website called Travelocity and when I need real Southern food.
Yeah.
Because I don't care how good you think it is in Brooklyn, it ain't.
That's my favorite. Going to New Orleans-style restaurants outside of New Orleans.
Yeah, it's hilarious.
They always mess it up. It's always one thing. Like the po' boy, which you're like, it's just a sandwich. Yes, but it needs French bread.
Yes,
it needs that French-style bread, and people put it on hoagie bread. You're like, what have you done? Why have you done it?
That's exactly right.
Look what you did. Candace, chime in. I didn't try and thwart you.
I do have a question, but I think I know the answer. So, was Bam Margera on the cruise? Because there's a lot of guys that look like Bam Margera.
I mean, I think that's what your average Burt fan looks like.
It looks like a blast. There's all these pictures I'm looking at. It looks so much fun.
And that's the other thing too. They all think they're Bam Margera.
Let's go back to you're on this cruise, the Burt Kreischer cruise. So this is like a Love Boat size. This is a giant cruise ship. I'm assuming
it was like 2,000 people.
And you're where exactly? Where specifically in the world was this boat?
We went from Miami to Nassau, Bahamas.
Okay,
and then we were supposed to stop at a place called Great Stirrup Cay, which is like an island owned by the Norwegian Cruise Line, which makes you feel good.
That's what could go wrong.
Yeah. Well, we couldn't go. The water was too rough.
Oh,
we couldn't.
That sounds like the most lawless place on the planet.
Yeah. So we
give them their own island.
Yeah, it's kind of weird when you go when you're because like I was seasick for the first day and a half.
I was going to ask, is it? Have you ever been on a cruise? I've never been on a cruise of any sort.
Oh, it's certainly worth it if you go for the right cruise with the right people. It's awesome.
Okay,
but you got to understand, like, they give you the patch. I had that. I had the Dramamine. I had the wristbands that have the pressure points. It didn't matter. The boat was just, the first 2 days was just.
Oh, man.
And we're performing. So, like, you're on stage, and all of the stages, the venues, are in the front of the boat. So when you're standing on stage, you're facing the ship. You're moving backwards.
Right.
Which is awful for someone
on rough waters. You're definitely aware of it.
Exactly. So you're on stage like, I might barf. I hope I don't.
So not okay. So let's go back. Let's go back to the tape, the replay. Yeah. So now you're singing an Incubus song at karaoke.
Yeah.
Backwards on a boat in choppy waters. Well, of course you blew your leg out.
By then I had acclimated to. I wasn't seasick anymore, so I got crazy.
So you were drunk.
Yeah,
that's usually the best way through.
That's actually the perfect cure for seasickness.
It's it's counterintuitive, but it helps.
It works.
So my question is, did you go down or did you stand there on one leg? Were paramedics involved? Did you need help getting off the stage? Paint the picture.
If you've ever blown out a calf muscle or if you've ever torn a muscle before, you know you hear it because it happens in your body.
Yeah.
But you feel it. It's a pop.
Yeah.
And a sharp jolt of pain, and you're
Sure.
like, okay, that just happened. But like I said, it happened right at the bridge of the song. So the song goes from like high energy to like really low.
Sure it does.
So I played it as like I got kind of like down on one knee almost and played it as like I'm really leaning into the bridge. And the whole time I'm singing it, I'm in my head like, ooh, this is going to screw up my week bad, isn't it?
Oh, my God.
So I was like, I'm going to try and jump when I stand, and we'll see how bad it truly is. I couldn't jump. I was like, yep, I'm going to stand up.
That is some show business right there, my friend.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're a gamer.
People were like staring at me like, oh, he's really into the song. But in my head, I'm like, I'm in searing pain right now.
Sure you are.
But we're doing it for the cruise.
Yeah.
It was like 3 a.m.
Sean Patton at Acme Comedy tonight, 7 o'clock and 9:30. Tomorrow, 7 o'clock and 9:30. I'm assuming this is hardly your first time through the Twin Cities.
No, this is my, I don't know, I've done this club a lot.
Yeah.
It's seriously, I argue one of the best countries in the world, or one of the best clubs in the world.
Yeah, sure.
In the world, I'll say that.
Yeah.
And it's just excellent. The staff, the people that come out, it's just such a great time.
Yeah, no, it is.
I always love coming back. Like, I love coming back to this club.
That is certainly the reputation. Generally speaking, when you're on the road and you don't have a messed up calf muscle, are you the guy that gets up in the morning and goes and checks out all the local sites or scenes? Or
I still do that with a messed up calf here.
Yeah, nice.
I got a compression sock on. I'll be fine.
Attaboy. Attaboy.
Yeah, I love Minneapolis. It's very underrated. It's a tundra half the year.
Sure.
I get that's why people are like,
there is that.
What's going on up there? I'm like, I almost want to keep it a secret.
Yeah.
You don't want it to become Austin, like. Yeah.
I think it's that's never going to happen because enough people are so worried about the cold. It's kind of perfect the way that works out.
I mean, but Austin, it's like people probably said that'll never happen here because of all the Texas.
Yeah, right. No,
that's like nope. It's going to happen.
Man, Austin was a headache 20 years ago, and I mean, really. I mean, I started going there in 1990, and right away people were like, "It's changing." I got there, but it was still incredible. And then by like the early 2000s, even I was like, "Yeah, I kind of get. Okay, I see what's happening here." And now I haven't been there in 10 years. I can't even imagine.
You remember Rainy Street in Austin?
I do remember Rainy Street in Austin.
Gone.
How so?
It's just for the listeners. Rainy Street was a street of houses that had all been turned into bars.
Yeah,
and it was amazing and beautiful. Now they built a big ass hotel. There's all the bars have been like bought out by corporate interests. It's not what it was.
Well, I moved here from Nashville, which is right on Austin's heels for turning into the town you didn't actually think you moved to.
I've been to Broadway Street.
It's one of those things. It's nonstop. So, what part of New York are you in?
I'm in Brooklyn. I live in Bed-Stuy, Brooklyn. It's
very nice.
I've been in Brooklyn.
Speaking of neighborhoods that are not what they were 25 years ago.
Yeah. I mean, the reason I like Bed-Stuy is it retained a lot of its integrity.
Sure.
But yes, there's definitely a lot of vegan options now.
Yeah, that's very true.
You know
What's a man like you do with vegan food?
I don't eat it.
You just look at it.
To me, I'm like, I don't have gout.
Yeah. I've had it.
You've had it? Yeah.
Oh, it's the worst.
It's the worst. I have friends who have it. I have relatives who have it. It skipped me, thankfully. But here I am with a blown calf.
Yeah,
there might just be an intense case of the gout that came on instantaneously.
So you are wearing the cap. Are you, in fact, a Saints fan, though?
I am. I'm a New Orleans fan.
Yeah.
I've learned from growing up a Saints fan, I have this ability to turn it off.
But it's called survival.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. The moment they hit the halfway point, it's like, oh, they're 4-4.
Yeah.
I'll turn it off this year.
Yeah, very good.
But I still, I'm a football fan, so I like to watch. The Vikings have the Saints number. It's pretty bad.
Yeah. Well, you came in strong with the JJ shout out, so that was pretty good.
Justin Jefferson's the man, dude.
He's definitely the man.
Yeah.
And LSU football still is a bigger deal than the Saints. I know in New Orleans proper, the Saints are religion, but boy, LSU, that down there, the SEC. I moved up here, like I said, from Nashville earlier this year, and when you talk about things like SEC football, man, it gets real serious real fast.
Oh, buddy.
So what else about the cruise? What else? Let's hear some more shenanigans. I'd like to hear, did Pete Lee get schwasty or did he remain a little more calm since he's married
about
now?
Pete Lee because he's a Minnesota boy.
Yeah, he lived here. I think he was born in Wisconsin.
Right,
but he lived
right.
here for a long time. He's also one of my favorites.
That's great. What's his favorite color, Candace?
Probably blue.
Wow.
That's nice to know. What's his favorite number? Is it a prime number?
I'm just wondering because he got married, so I was wondering if he was a little more calm.
I mean, every morning he would lead the prayer session in the chapel, and then.
What if he has a happy marriage?
and he talked about his wife a lot. I think it's his fifth wife. I'm pretty sure. So I'm sure she'll last a few years, and he'll have another 10 minutes.
I've always thought the more they talk about the wife, the more it's a smokescreen. You know what I mean? It's like, dude, just shave that beard.
Pete Lee, if you don't know, is someone who could be on fire and still maintain a positive attitude.
Is that true?
Like literally have a wild animal eating his. Like, I blew my thigh out. Look over and Pete's having his leg devoured by an alligator. He'd be like, "Are you okay, Sean?" I'm like, "Are you okay?" And he's like, "Oh, this is fine.
Yeah,
this is fine. It's nothing." And loves EDM. Did you know that?
No, I didn't.
There you go.
Wow.
One of your favorite people loves electronic
cool,
dance
I
music.
guess.
Man, that's amazing. Well, Candace has 31, 32, 34 more questions for you, but she's going to have to get them off the air because we got to bounce.
Yeah.
Sean Patton is at Acme tonight, 7 to 9:30. Tomorrow, 7 to 9:30. Thank you for coming by, brother.
Thank you so much for having me. It's always fun. Y'all are always great.
Right on.
The KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS.